Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had a great place to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. We have a lot to get into tonight, so let's kick this off talking about our wonderful FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, shall we? As if the FBI hasn't proven to we the people over the past 8 years to be the largest incompetent and corrupt government agency under the leadership of Director Wray, some very interesting change of events have been unfolding in the past 24 hours. Yesterday, FBI Director Christopher Wray resigned. He is stepping down. He says it's to make room for Trump's new incoming FBI director. And drum roll, please. Today, the Department of Justice IG reveals what Republicans have been saying all along about the January 6th Capitol incident, while FBI Director Wray has been lying under oath to Congress for the past 4 years, saying it didn't happen. In the report, 26 FBI informants were present on January 6th. That is per the Justice Department's Inspector General, Michael Hartsworth. And there were more than 24 FBI confidential human sources in the crowd on January 6th. While stressing that none of the sources were authorized or directed by the Bureau to break the law or encourage others to commit illegal acts that they can prove beyond a doubt. Hartsworth today released his highly anticipated report on the FBI's handling of its confidential human sources and intelligence collection efforts in the lead up to the January 6, 2021 electoral certification. One of the 3 FBI confidential sources tasked by the FBI to attend the rally entered the Capitol building, while the other 2 entered restricted areas around the Capitol, although the FBI claims they were told not to do so. 23 of the FBI confidential sources present on January 6 came to Washington, D.C., to the Capitol, supposedly on their own. Interesting and very convenient, I'll say. Of that group, 3 entered the Capitol during the riot, and an additional 11 sources entered the restricted area around the Capitol. So, now it's time for Trump's incoming director for the FBI and his Department of Justice to reinvestigate those involved that were encouraging others to go into the Capitol and encouraging others to do harm. New FBI director under Trump will now be able to get all the names of these FBI confidential sources, pictures of their faces, and watch the videos all over again to find out which one of them actively incited this so-called MAGA insurrection. My friends, J6 was a setup and an entrapment of Trump supporters all along, which we have been saying from day one. Just one more piece of the puzzle to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris weaponized our FBI and Department of Justice against Donald J. Trump, Republicans, conservatives, and Trump supporters. So there you have it. That's from the IG report from the Department of Justice. Director Wray, as I've been telling you, I've been talking about all the times he's testified in front of Congress, saying that they had nobody there in the FBI that was undercover doing anything. Even when video evidence was shown to him of busloads full of FBI informants coming in. So there's way more than what's in this report. Trust me. We know that from the videos that were exposed. And all along, he sat there and said, no, no, and no. The FBI was not involved. Director Wray is a lying, no good, anti-American piece of garbage. And he needs to be investigated for his part in all of this and then prosecuted, along with everyone else that was an FBI informant that was there that they can prove was shouting for people to go into the Capitol and for people to follow me, charge, and so forth. You see, if you give enough time, the truth comes out and it exposes corruption. And as we're finding out, the corruption of these Democrats, of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and what they have done with weaponizing our FBI and our Department of Justice against we the people is absolutely insane. And it is my hope that the new FBI director and the new director of the Department of Justice hold them accountable for what they've done. Now, I want to talk about something that we've discussed it before, and we discussed it last Tuesday. We're going to bring it up again because it's absolutely getting nuts. Drones, hundreds of them, captured on video camera at night. Law enforcement's capturing on video camera. Members of Congress are capturing it on video camera. Members of the news media are capturing them on video camera in New Jersey, in New York, up and down the eastern seaboard, on the West Coast, up in Washington State, in California. Drones, hundreds of them. In one situation, just a few nights ago, they counted 50 drones the size of a small minivan coming out of the Atlantic Ocean into America. And this is pretty much dominating all the news media right now. What the hell's going on? Joe Biden, as we know, let a Chinese balloon, spy balloon, fly all the way across the United States of America and refused to do anything about it until finally it got out over the ocean, and then they shot it down. And that's only after it hit the news, because they were trying to keep it hush-hush and they didn't want the people to know about it. They're just going to let them do it. And so we've been hearing all these people testifying to Congress saying that we don't know. Homeland Security saying we don't know who this is. We don't know who they belong to. We don't have any answers. How is that possible? What type of incompetent, no good piece of crap do we have running agencies around this country? The FBI saying we don't know who they belong to. We don't have authorization to shoot them down. It's just insane. And they're not just flying over things they shouldn't be flying over, which is any of our airspace, but over sensitive areas. They're flying drones over the training area where SEAL Team 6 trains. Of course, it's not called SEAL Team 6 anymore, but that group of special ops, naval warfare people, where they train. And we're doing nothing about it. Flying over Air Force bases, flying over areas where we have nuclear weapons stored. And this administration is doing nothing about it. So let's look at a few of the highlights that have come out in just the past few hours that are just mind-boggling.
I was on the beach in Island State Park in Ocean County with the sheriff. He has been working it every single night. He's got his own tethered drones chronicling. One of his officers 2 nights ago saw 50 drones come in off the ocean right there. So we thought maybe they'll replicate it. They didn't, but we thought it was a possibility. Last night, we had a number of other people there, including a commanding officer from the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water, followed right behind them. And I said, what's the rules of engagement? I mean, you do it if you're fighting against a narco trafficker or something. And they said, we don't know, we don't have any. So I did reach out to the commanding officer at the Joint Base, which is also in my district, and talked to him, had a very good conversation, Colonel Anthony Smith, Joint Base Fort Dix McGuire, the 87th Air Wing, Air Base Wing today. And I said, I know you have the capability, you've put out press releases, to identify and bring down drones. Why can't you deploy them, at least to the ocean? Bring one of these down, find out who's doing it. They have the capability. He said, well, we don't have the authority, only within the parameters of our base. Well, there's a national interest here. Our jets fly over the ocean all the time for training, so that perimeter is larger. So I did write Secretary Lloyd Austin asking that capability that may be sitting in a closet somewhere, I know they use it all the time, but bring it out. And I'm not saying you got to share it with the sheriffs. It'd be nice. Just do it yourself in the interest of the American public.
That makes more sense.
If you would echo that request. I mean, DOD's got the capability, and maybe Homeland Security does as well. When we had a Zoom meeting with Secretary Mayorkas, our governor put it together, and I appreciated that.
That is.
But I asked them, why can't we just track where they go to? Seemingly they're going out to sea, to something, a ship. We don't know for sure, but they can.
Is that absolutely insane? 50. And following our military equipment, Coast Guard. And they've got no rules of engagement for them. What in the hell are we doing in the United States military? That is your job, is to protect the homeland first and foremost. The National Guard, the reserves, and the active duty military. There are organizations within our military, for instance, NORAD, that is their only task is to keep the airspace above America safe from foreign enemies. And these clowns are just don't know what to do. So a bunch of members of Congress got together, Democrats and Republicans, and they got a behind-the-scenes classified briefing on what the FBI could share with them. And some of them came out, as you may have seen on Fox News, for instance, with some pretty damning things to say. And some of them added to the conversation with things that they're getting, talking to the Pentagon members that aren't quite qualified to speak on the subject, but sharing with them the information that they have that the top authorities don't want to share. And that is going to blow your mind if you haven't already heard it. So listen to this exchange.
New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon. Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've
You heard that, right? Now, people are speaking out, whistleblowers. And that's been happening for a while. Because of the fact that the Biden-Harris administration doesn't have a clue what transparency is. They ran on transparency. They'd be the most transparent administration in American history. And it turned out that they're just the opposite. So, because of all this, members of Congress coming out and talking about what they're hearing from those in the Pentagon, that nappy head bird nest freak of a press secretary had this to say.
Questions about drones. There have been repeated drone sightings in the Northeast, especially in New Jersey. These are not small drones, some of them pretty large. They're flying at low altitudes, they're flying in flocks. Has the president been briefed on this situation?
So we are certainly aware, the president is aware. So we're closely tracking the activity and coordinating closely with relevant agency, including DHS and FBI, to continue to investigate these incidents. Don't have anything beyond that to share. Obviously, this is something that DHS and FBI are tracking very, very closely, and so I would have to refer you to them directly, but aware. Keeping an eye out and looking into the incidents that you just mentioned.
Still though, but has the federal government ruled out that these are controlled by foreign entities?
Yeah.
And do you know if they're conducting surveillance over these
So I
areas?
cannot make any kind of predictions or comments about that specifically from here. This is something that DHS is looking at and FBI, so I would have to refer you to them. I don't have anything beyond that. We're tracking this very closely. Obviously, we're all aware of the incidents that have been reported. I'm not going to go into what they could be or could not be from here. That is something that obviously is being looked at as those respective agencies that I mentioned.
When was the president briefed on this?
I don't have a timeline, but he certainly has been made aware of this. And his,
The New Jersey
He doesn't even know he's the
it's frustrating
president,
that
for
there
crying
aren't
out loud.
answers about where these are coming from, that people are very concerned about this. What's the White House message to the people up there who are frustrated that there isn't any information right now?
And obviously, we hear them and we understand that. We are closely tracking this. We are monitoring the incidents that have been put forward and certainly made public. And we have two agencies that I've already mentioned that are looking into this, working closely with folks on the ground, trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't have anything more to share beyond that.
Is that the craziest shit you've ever heard? And this didn't just start yesterday. This has been going on for 4 years. Ever since Joe Biden and Kamala Harris moved into office, the security of this country went to shit under this administration. Whether it's the skies above us, our military with the wokeness bullshit, our border, open wall, just let everybody in, terrorists in, drugs, sex trafficking of women and children. All of this has been happening under this current administration's watch. And they just double down on stupid. They just, we're monitoring it. You know, let's go back to the Chinese balloon that everybody remembers. This administration tried to keep that from you, from me, from we the people, and just let China do it and do nothing about it. And then when it got leaked out, they didn't have a choice. They had to do something about it. But in the process of this Chinese balloon, we also find out that there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of reports over the past 4 years of drone activity all around our military bases and where we store classified top secret shit like nuclear weapons, and we're doing nothing to stop it. In places like California, in Colorado, in Nevada, in New Mexico, where some of our most highly classified shit exists. Our bomber bases, where our SEAL teams train. It's been happening for 4 years. But now, they've been able to get away with it for so long that they're blatantly sending over 50 at a time. And so now everybody's picked it up. All the news media's got it. Finally, CNN's going to talk about it. Finally, MSNBC and ABC and CBS and NBC and the Washington Post and the New York Times and Fox News. Everybody's talking about what in the hell is this administration doing by saying that we don't know what these are. How is it possible that the FBI and the Pentagon sit down in front of Congress yesterday and say, we don't have any answers. We don't know who they belong to. We know nothing about them. So that caused White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby, the most incompetent national security advisor to ever hold the job, to hold a press conference today. And he said, we have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat, or that they're foreign nexus. And it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. Brian Harrell, a former Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary for Infrastructure Protection under the Trump administration, said Kirby missed a key opportunity to develop trust with the public. Just be honest. The government has a unique opportunity to build trust with the American people, and they are fumbling the ball. Yes, additional authorities are needed. Additional investigations are needed. However, we have the tools and the radar capabilities today to understand the details of these drones and shoot them down. And then Kirby steps to the microphone.
I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, we certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this particular stage. While there is no known malicious activity occurring, the reported sightings there do, however, highlight a gap in authorities. And so we urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities so that we are better prepared to identify and mitigate any potential threats to airports or other critical infrastructure, and so that state and local authorities are provided all the tools that they need to respond to such threats as well.
You know, I wish that throat punching was protected under the United States Constitution like freedom of speech is. So let me get this straight from what you just watched, what you just heard. From the Biden-Harris own national security advisor, you don't know the difference between a drone and a manned aircraft? You don't know who owns the drones or manned aircraft? You don't know who is piloting the drones or manned aircraft. You don't know if the drones are manned aircraft belonging to our military and or the military of Iran, Russia, or China. You've not shot one down or captured one of these drones or manned aircraft. So in reality, you don't know if they are spy craft or if they are a threat to us with weapons on board. But yet you stand there in that podium and talk out the side of your ass like we're a bunch of fucking idiots that can't think outside the box that you're living in. As we all know, drones are being used by our military, our allies' military, our enemy's military in combat in wars all across this planet. Retrofitted and firing rockets, missiles, guns, and dropping bombs. And they can be used to deploy chemical or biological weapons. But without knowing all of these things, you have the audacity to stand up there in this press conference and make the claim that there is no national security or public safety threat. You could not make this shit up if you tried. These last 4 years have been insane. I've never, in my wildest imaginations, thought that I'd be witnessing the shit that we're witnessing. And it just keeps getting worse day by day. For instance, Joe Biden has announced that they're going to go ahead and start pardoning, before he leaves office, a whole bunch of criminals and let them out of jail. But if they had drug convictions or gun convictions, they're not going to get a pardon. They stay in jail. Only those that don't have drug convictions or guns convictions, or like rape or assault, unless your name is Hunter Biden. Pretty fucking neat, isn't it? Now, I'm not saying that we need to pardon anybody that's been sent to prison that's guilty. Do I believe there's people in prison that shouldn't be there? Hell yes. I know for a fact there are. But this administration says one thing and then turns right around and contradicts themselves every damn day. It's sickening. It's sad. It's un-American. There is no transparency in this administration. In yet another incident to prove the Biden-Harris administration has blood on their hands, along with every Democrat mayor, Democrat governor, Democrat district attorney, and Democrat judge who allows illegals released back into the public, 7-year-old Avery Smith was killed by a Venezuelan migrant, Joel Inquirer Gonzalez Chachin, in a late-night drunk driving accident in North Houston after ICE released a hold against him, court documents revealed. This was reported on Fox 26 out of Houston. The court records revealed that he had previously been placed on another ICE hold earlier this year after being arrested for assaulting a family member in June. The felony assault charge against him ended up being dropped to a misdemeanor after he pleaded guilty. And he was sentenced to 113 days in jail, which he had already served and was released that same day. The ICE detainer against him was also lifted that someday, for an unknown reason, authorities confirmed to Fox News Digital that the 41-year-old migrant was intoxicated when he T-boned Christina Smith and her daughter Ivory at 2:45 a.m. Police said that he then got out of his car, took photographs of the crime scene and the injured woman and her dead kid instead of helping or calling 911, and then drove off. The two victims were only a few minutes from home. Smith was severely injured in the wreck, but has since been released from the hospital. Her daughter is dead. He was arrested for intoxicating manslaughter and has been put on a new ICE detainer. Ivory was in second grade. According to a statement released by the family, the mother continues to endure immense physical and emotional pain from the accident. No parent should have to suffer the unbearable loss of a child, especially under circumstances that could and should have been prevented, said the family, adding, the incident is a stark reminder that we need stronger accountability and justice to prevent further suffering for families like ours. Even more troubling is the fact that this individual was released after being detained earlier this year, only to find themselves back in custody after causing irreparable harm, the family said. Why do we have holes in place if they failed to keep dangerous individuals off our streets? How can a system allow such leniency where a person with such a record is given a chance to walk free and then reoffend? Speaking of Ivory, the family said her life, filled with innocence and joy, was taken far too soon due to the reckless actions of an individual who chose to drive under the influence. We will continue to demand answers and advocate for change so that no other family has to endure the pain, loss, and injustice that we are experiencing, they said. Ivory's light and legacy deserve better, and our memory will guide us as we work towards a safer future for all. Now, for those of you that watch the show on a regular basis, you know that I am personal friends with numerous Angel family members. I've had them on my show before. And Angel families are, to qualify to be an Angel family member, your loved one has to be killed by an illegal immigrant that shouldn't have been here in the first place. And this shit just keeps happening. And this administration doesn't care. They don't care about securing our border. They don't care about securing our skies. They don't care about you. I don't know what they got accomplished in 4 years that we will remember in history as, look what this administration did that improved the country of America. Nothing. Name something, please. Now, I talked about Tuesday night show, Daniel Penny, the man who was on a subway train. He's a former Marine, or a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine, right? Simplify Marines out there. He was going to college on his GI Bill. And he's on a car that's mixed with, in fact, he's probably the only white person on the freaking subway car. All the rest are black, Asian, Hispanic, you name it. I don't know if you've ever ridden a subway in New York, but it's everybody. It's a melting pot. Well, that's how New York is in general. And a black man comes on the train at one of the stops, obviously high on something, making demands, threatening to go to jail, not caring if he goes to jail, verbally, outright yelling he's going to kill people, and people are freaking out. He takes his jacket off, throws it on the floor right in front of a woman and her baby. And this Marine took action, took him to the ground, put him in a chokehold, and held him there while 911 was called, and cops would be available at the next train stop to take this guy into custody. Only about 5 minutes go by. And there's lots of video of this all over the internet right now that you can see. And cops come on board, and Daniel Penny is still alive. He's breathing, although he's unconscious. And Daniel Penny voluntarily goes to the police station, gives a statement along with other witnesses that were on the train car, all saying the same thing, that they feared for their life. When you fear for your life as an American, or you believe somebody's going to kill you or someone else, you have the right as an American citizen to defend yourself or that other person. You have the right to use force, even deadly force, if you believe they're going to kill you. And in this case, he said, I'm going to kill you all. So law enforcement obviously let Daniel Penny go because it was self-defense. All the witnesses there, all the video footage of people with cell phones that captured it. The whole thing, it was a self-defense thing, and Daniel Penny died. I mean, not Daniel Penny, but the guy, Needley died, okay? And then black lawmakers, members of Congress, Black Lives Matter activists are blaming Daniel Penny's acquittal on the evil of white supremacy. One lawmaker argued that Penny's acquittal is a green light for attacks against unarmed Black Americans. Lawmakers, activists, commentators argued that the acquittal of Marine veteran Daniel Penny Monday shows the United States is a racially unjust society. Penny was found not guilty of criminal neglect homicide in the death of Jordan Needy on a Manhattan subway car in May of 2023. And this is after being released by law enforcement, able to go about his day-to-day life. And Alvin Braggs, the same guy that has a hard-on for Donald Trump and the whole Stormy Daniels bullshit, that Alvin Braggs decided to get an indictment and take this white boy down and try and put him away. Needy, a 30-year-old homeless man, was schizophrenic, although nobody knew that, who had an active arrest warrant at the time. Nobody knew that. Had barged into the train shouting death threats while high on a type of synthetic marijuana known as K2. Nobody knew that. Penny restrained Needy with a chokehold with the assistance of two other passengers, all caught on tape, one of whom was Black. And then, of course, Neely died after he went into police custody. Well, the cause has been seen by many as a culture battles about issues such as homelessness, drugs, and crime. The issue of race has now taken center stage. The acquittal of Daniel Penny and the death of Jordan Neely has effectively given license for vigilante justice to be waged on the Black community without consequences, the NAACP said on their X account, formerly Twitter. It's a painful reminder of the inequities in our justice system. Jordan deserved compassion. Instead, he was met with violence. We stand with his family in calling for accountability. X users responded by noting that Daniel Penny did not act alone in defending himself and others from this crazy man. A black man can be clearly seen assisting Penny to subdue him. A black woman who was a witness to everything testified in Penny's defense. There's no evidence that Penny was motivated by race at all. A black woman testified at the trial. She testified. She heard him saying, "I don't give a damn if I go to jail. I will kill a motherfucker. I'm ready to die." And she said, "I was scared shitless," she testified. And said she thanked Daniel Penny for helping save her and everyone on the train. Penny rejected accusations that his actions were racist, telling Fox News Digital in an interview last year, "The majority of the people on that train that I were protecting were minorities. So it definitely hurts a lot to be called a racist." But that did not stop others, including lawmakers, from arguing the acquittal is a sign of America still harbors deep racial hatred. Jordan Neely was unarmed. He needed support and care, Representative Jasmine Crockett, Democrat, Texas, argued. Instead, he received a death sentence. His family grieves while the man who took his life walks free. This is more than a miscarriage of justice. It's a green light for more violence against unarmed Black Americans, said Representative Summer Lee, Democrat, Pennsylvania. The acquittal of Daniel Penny in the murder of Jordan Neely is a painful reminder of a long-standing reality. Violence against Black people often goes unchecked, said the congressman. Jordan deserved compassion, not violence. We stand with his loved ones in demanding accountability. Everything that led up to and followed the lynching of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway train by Daniel Penny could and should have been prevented. Tiffany Cabana, council member of New York City Council District 22 in Queens, New York, wrote to the Blue Sky. Neely, who struggled with mental illness, had been arrested more than 40 times, including for numerous violent assaults on strangers in the subway, and was on the city's top 50 list of homeless people most needed to be helped in an outreach program. Although New York prioritizes helping illegal immigrants over their own homeless Americans. Just 3 months before his death, a warrant had been issued for his arrest after he left a few weeks into a 15-month court-ordered alternative to incarceration program. He walked off from the program. Neely had agreed to stay in the treatment facility and abstain from drugs in exchange for his felony assault on a 67-year-old woman that he broke her nose and fractured her orbital bone around her eye, having it reduced to a misdemeanor. Instead, he ended up on the subway threatening people. Outgoing Representative Jamel Bowman, that racist son of a bitch, Democrat, New York, addressed white people as a group. Dear white people, I don't know why I feel the need to keep talking to you. I don't know why part of me still hopes for you and for us. Some of you are too far gone, but maybe enough of you aren't and will join in fighting to end white supremacy. He continued, I just want to call out the hypocrisy and evil of it all and just continue to hope. I won't rely completely on you because I know what's most important is to work with my community and other like-minded allies in the fight for justice. But I will ask white people, how many times have you seen a white man killed in cold blood on camera on your news feed? How many times have you ever even heard about this? He asked. I can point to you about fucking 500 cases, sir. Contact me. Call me. Email me. Are you shitting me? While some ex-users pointed out the irony of the statement with video of the number of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson dominating the news, the answer is never, he said. What a fucking loser you are, sir. You race-baiting bigot. He went on to say, you never have. And whenever you feel discomfort from your whiteness, black people are harmed or killed. And there is never accountability or justice. This is the evil of white supremacy. This is a sitting member of Congress. It spans across geographic and political parties and sickens us all. Activists and members of the media shared fiery responses as well. Imagine, just imagine, if Jordan Needley had been a white and Daniel Penny was black. Former MSNBC host Mahida Hansen implored. Imagine what some of the folks defending Penny would be saying. Just imagine. I can tell you what we'd be saying. Come aboard a subway, threatening to kill people, and acting like a fucking idiot, you deserve whatever's coming to you. I don't give a shit what color you are. On a CNN panel on Monday, Philadelphia Inquirer columnist Solomon Jones brought up the dreaded R word, saying race plays a role in this. CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings countered this claim by bringing up the equivalent case involving a black man. What about the Jordan Williams case here in New York, he asked. Same situation. African Americans get on a subway, ends up killing a guy, grand jury tosses it out the exact same time as the Penny case, just 1 month after Needley's death. Williams, who is black, fatally stabbed a homeless man on the subway who had been harassed and threatening others, including Williams and his girlfriend, which led to a physical confrontation. What else do you need to know, you racist bigot? And then, if that wasn't bad enough, Black Lives Matter has to step up to the microphone. What I'm going to show you, I can just about guarantee you what's left of the days of this administration. Nothing, absolutely nothing is going to be done by this FBI and this Department of Justice for what you're about to hear come out of this man for Black Lives Matter, who should be in handcuffs right now, sitting in a jail cell for what you're about to hear. And nothing is being done.
We have. Stop begging this system to justify our lives. Stop begging this system for justice. When things happen to you, you step up and defend yourself. Just like everybody else seeks justice on their own, just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
He just called for black people to rise up and start killing white people. Where you at, FBI? Where you at, Department of Justice? Why is it that son of a bitch sitting in a jail cell tonight? Not going to. Because that's not how they roll. And in closing tonight, Pennsylvania Democrat Senator John Fetterman has become the first Democrat U.S. Senator to join and post on President-elect Donald Trump's platform, Truth Social. In addition to using a platform that's derided by most liberals, Fetterman turned heads with a commending the legal case against both Trump and President Biden's son, Hunter Biden. The lawmaker post read, "My first truth, the Trump hush money and Hunter Biden cases are both bullshit, and pardons are appropriate. Weaponizing judiciary for blatant partisan gain diminishes collective faith in our institution and sows further division." Along with the statement, Fetterman shared a screenshot of a recent MSNBC.com headline, which stated Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg responds to Trump's motion to dismiss hush money case. That piece reportedly Bragg pushed back to the president-elect motion to dismiss the hush money case, in which he was convicted of 34 felony counts earlier this year. The judge in that case, Judge Juan Merchant, had indefinitely postponed Trump's sentencing date following his election day victory in November. Bragg wrote to Merchant that Trump's request to dismiss goes well beyond what is necessary to protect the presidency and would subvert the compelling public interest in preserving the justice unanimous verdict and upholding the rule of law. Fetterman's post also came after Biden's controversial pardoning of his son. The pardon applies to offenses against the U.S. that Hunter Biden has committed or may have committed from January 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024, and covered the illegal firearm and tax-related felonies that he was convicted of following prosecution by the Department of Justice. Many within the president's own party, along with many media outlets like the Washington Post and New York Times, oppose Hunter Biden being pardoned. In a statement announced the younger Biden's pardon, the president stated that his son was unfairly targeted by the Department of Justice. His Department of Justice. So it's unfair if they target your son, but it's not unfair if they target Republicans, conservatives, Donald Trump, and his supporters. Hunter Biden was found guilty and admitted to cheating and not paying taxes on millions of fucking dollars and being in possession of a gun that he got illegally while he was high on fucking crack. And then his wife tossed it out in a fucking trash can. But no, Hunter Biden gets away with that. Now, there's many ways you can look at that. Look, it's his son. People say, what do you expect him to do? What would you do, Doug, if you were the president and your kid did all this fucked up shit? Would you pardon him on the way out? I'll tell you what. My kids can tell you what I've told them as they were growing up. If you go out there and you fuck off and you get in trouble with law enforcement, I'm not the person to call to get you out of fucking jail. In fact, if you get out, I'm going to beat your ass when you get home. No one should be above the law, except for Democrats, right? That's what we learned over the last 8 years. No one. Well, finally, Democrat members of Congress, senators, congressmen and women are coming on board. Many are switching parties and becoming Republicans. or are becoming independents because they're sick of the Democrat hypocrisy that's like a weed that we're trying to stomp out. And we're going to. There's a new sheriff in town. His name's Donald J. Trump. And his Department of Justice and his FBI are about to start cleaning up the fucking streets of America. Thank God. It's about damn time. You had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. If anything breaks between now and next Tuesday's show, I will either come on live or I will do a video about it. Other than that, I hope whatever you're doing this weekend, you have fun, you're safe, don't get bombed or biohazard by a drone or UAP or whatever the fuck is flying around our country that this administration doesn't seem to give a shit about. What's going to happen is people are going to start taking it in their own hands and shooting these fuckers down. That's what's going to happen. And then this administration is going to try and prosecute them. So, hey, fly a drone over my house. Bring them over here. See how far you get. In the description of this show and all my shows and all my videos, you can find the places you can follow me on social media. Follow me, I'll follow you back. That's how we do this. Please share this channel, whether you're watching me tonight live on YouTube or Rumble or X or LinkedIn. Let your family and friends know about the Douglas Ducote Show and tell them to tune in on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central. And I will continue to push forward and share the factual information that we, the people, are being kept from by biased mainstream news media, which is why they're losing their ass right now. Because people are tuning in to people like me that aren't politically correct and don't have a problem calling you out, whether you're a Republican, a conservative, a liberal, a Democrat. If we, the people, send you to Washington, D.C. to work for us and you're up there screwing around for your own personal benefit, count on me to be talking about your ass. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Have a safe evening, everyone. Have a safe weekend. And I'll see you back here next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. God bless.